that I have in my kind of communication sphere. My concept and my drive always is the things I want to do and the things I need to happen are uncomfortable. So, like my opinions on life, they aren't all going to be nice. And kind of like medicine, some of them are going to taste bad or feel bad. It's the politics of conviction as opposed to the politics of being loved, which is all we see these days. So the politics of conviction is a very Thatcherite approach to politics, but it suggests that the only way for us to regain lost ground and to move forwards as a nation is to reclaim our nation. So we have to be able to put British people first. We have to be able to put British jobs first, and we have to be able to put families who want to try hard, care for their families, care for their jobs, care for themselves at the front of every single queue. So no more are we all equal. No more are we all better because of diversity. No more are we all better because there's very few white people left. Actually, we are all going to be recruited on merit, paid by performance, and rewarded on results. A very simple old system that if you try very hard, you do very well. I would have British families at the front of the queue for school places. I would have British families at the front of the queue for our health service. And I would have British families at the front of the queue for homes and housing. And that may be seen as a sort of wildly racist approach. But of course, if you are somebody from outside of our country who wants to bring brilliance here, absolutely come, show us how we do it. And the community that I take my hat off, the community I celebrate the most, is our Indian British nationals. They came here in the 60s and the 70s, or before that, 30s, 40s. They came to this country. They worked twice as hard as us. Their children worked twice as hard as us at school. They're the most integrated, most delightful community that we have. And I could not celebrate our Indian community harder. If there is a it is our British and our British national community. That is the model that I need. And it is to get rid of this idea that our young people are growing up with, that to be the biggest victim is to be the biggest success. You know, if there's one thing I am pushing into my children, is that we used to be known for being good at something. We need to make Britain a nation that is known for being good at something, as opposed to being the weakest. And that's really in a 5 minutes where I'm pushing to take Britain, and certainly applauding hard behind great Americans who are working that ethos right now. The salon owners who are back cutting hair, the restaurant owners who are trying their best to get their business going, the cafe owner who opened up despite the state being closed down. Those Americans working low wage jobs, but grafting away day after day, job. They love their president, and those are the people. Those are the people we need to make our heroes. Those are the real champions of the freedom cause. No, it's certainly not that. I firmly believe that on the 23rd of March 2020, Boris was got at. Now, I don't know by whom or by what, and I don't know what powerful force or what malevolence was behind it. But up until that date, Boris was resisting the lockdown. Boris was very bombastic Boris. He was very much, well, let's keep going and we'll work out the risks. And as for now, we're going to be best of British about it. 23rd of March, everything changed. Lockdown, Neil Ferguson came into play, and we got this line, we're going to follow the science. And follow the science, of course, is a very noble line. It suggests that we're now going to put the medical people in charge, and we are brought up innately to have a trust in doctors. But actually, we didn't follow any science. Neil Ferguson, as many of your viewers will know, rather like Fauci, appears to be just one of the most professional storytellers that there can be. His modelling has historically proved itself to be incredibly inept, and has continued in that manner. He said 500,000 would die. And of course, it does make you wonder if his modelling was inept, if he's proven his private life was also disgraceful. He's now known as Professor Pants Down for his affair that he continued during lockdown. My question would be, what got at Boris? What is that fundamental power that was able to shift a relatively coherent, if not bumbling individual into somebody who just towed the party line? And by the party line, I mean the line that's been put down by China, by the WHO, by the Bill Gates, by the kind of supranational organizations. It feels as if our country is now being governed by supranational organizations working together at a level that's far above or elevated from anything to do with the nation. I think the other thing that has gone very badly wrong is that clearly the British government used fear to lock people down. They used fear as a tool to make people stay in their homes. If you go out, people, that is a direct quote. But free people, if we were to assess ourselves as free, we make mistakes and we willingly take risks. Historically, we have not held politicians accountable for everything that goes wrong. What's happened, we've shifted to where the masses now hold politicians accountable for everything that goes wrong. So they're taking our liberty not as protection against risk, but as protection against their own criticism. And that's the shift that's happened. They're not trying to protect us from risk that we might freely choose to take. They're trying to protect themselves from criticism, which is why there will never be enough laws to stop that criticism happening. And I think the silencing, the removal of our commentary goes on, the silencing of my voice, of course, goes on. And many of your viewers will know of a number of things that have happened to me over the course of my fight to try to stop me from talking, whether that's been jihadi attacks or taking away my family home. There is a cost to speaking out, as I do in the UK.
Lost.
Laws are coming into play.
Sorry, Katie.
Or did we lose our connection there? Am I back?
We lost our connection, but I flipped it to a stronger channel because I was getting weak. Just go back about 30 seconds.
Of course. So what we're noticing is that while our heads are turned for Corona, massive grabs of power are underway. And if you notice things like, now we're not so keen on having cash used when people go to a store. So our currency will become a digital currency. We're seeing the vaccination today. Matthew Hancock came out and said he would like everybody to have that vaccination. When pushed, will it be mandatory? He would not respond. Very likely, we're going to be given a vaccination that if we don't have it, public services will be restricted, perhaps even travel will be restricted. The narrowing in, I can feel the walls narrowing in with Corona. And the most impacted, as always, in my personal opinion, will be British nationals, will be American nationals. And that's why, of all these last few weeks, of times I've raged or been upset or been devastated or joyful, it's to the United States of America that I look. And part of me wanting to join you this evening is to say thank you. Thank you to 64 million Americans who voted for Donald J. Trump. Thank you to all of those silent, quiet, secret Republicans that can't tell your friends that you vote Republican, but you do every time, and that you see that Donald Trump is fighting for justice for us. And one of the glorious things, and it still makes me, quite emotional now, is on the 12th of December when this country came out and voted Boris Johnson with a majority. The alternative was Jeremy Corbyn, an anti-Semite, was the much faster fall of this country. My Jewish friends had their bags packed, ready to leave for Israel. This country, the Red War, came out and voted for Boris, not for politics, but because it was the right thing to do. And that's why I trust in us as a network of freedom fighters. It's why I trust in Trump, and it's why I always trust in Americans, because whilst Brits have been complicit, have kneeled down like sheep, have put on the masks, have reported their neighbours, have begged to be locked down harder, have refused to send their kids to school, have asked me where I come from, why my children are here, have told me to get away from them. In America, freedom is hardwired into the American soul. And I know for a fact that the most glorious document there is on this planet is the American Constitution. And my reminder always to Americans is that because of your Second Amendment, you have your first. I'm not allowed to carry in the my car. I'm a school mum at the same time. I have a sticker. My car sticker says, guns don't kill people, but I'm willing to. And it's something I stand by. So the American Constitution, fantastic. Freedom fighters in America, amazing. And the fact that America is moving to reopen much faster than we have, also a fantastic thing.
We will make America great again.